Thank you for joining us today for Strides. Today I have Ms. Tessa Bathauer. Thank you for joining us. So
Yeah,
to get started, just give us a little bit of your background, example, where you grew up, where you're located now, anything you'd like to share about what you do career-wise, and anything you feel comfortable sharing about your disability.
yeah, thank you so much for having me. My name's Tessa Bathauer. I am an LMSW, so a licensed social worker. And I'm from Colorado originally. I am based out of Austin, Texas now. I graduated from my graduate program a couple of years ago, and since then I've been doing various forms of disability advocacy through kind of a social work lens. So I own an organization that where we teach folks in the social sector about disabilities, kind of in the interprofessional settings, so accommodations, access, and we also talk a lot about disability culture, all of those types of things. But I also teach folks how to be have a better understanding of disability towards their clients. So I work a lot with social workers and other mental health professionals doing that. And I'm also disabled myself. I am profoundly hard of hearing, is how I identify. And I also have various chronic illnesses that kind of ebb and flow and cause me to have different disabilities depending on what's flaring up and what I'm experiencing that day.
Gotcha. So you said that you run your own organization in the social sector. What drew you towards that career path? Was it your disability journey, or was there something else that drew you towards that? Can you just explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I came from a work hard, blue collar type family. Never thought I was going to go to college, but I grew up with these disabilities, and I already naturally had to advocate for myself. And so, I was very disillusioned by the academic settings and the discrimination, if you will, and the oppression that I experienced and I saw other folks experience. So I thought, I'm never ever going to go back into the academic setting. I'll just work hard and make my living that way. But eventually I got involved with the deaf community up in Colorado, and it was an amazing experience. But I noticed how much inequality and lack of services and lack of access they had. So I decided I wanted to go back to school and start a nonprofit for deaf and hard of hearing folks. And it kind of evolved over time. I ended up in Austin doing school because I have family here, and also disability benefits for schooling are pretty good. And I learned over time that I didn't want to just focus on deaf and hard of hearing folks because there's such a bigger issue going on with access and inequality and those types of things for folks with disabilities overall, right? And so I didn't want to just neglect a huge issue. And so I ended up kind of focusing on policy for a while during my master's degree in particular, and then realizing that even addressing policy and politics, as far as disability rights go and disability justice, it doesn't fully reflect the issue, which is a society-based issue around disability rights and disability justice.
So it sounds like you're interested in a myriad of fields that all work around disability. That said, none of us can work 24/7. So
Yeah.
when you aren't working on what you do within your organization, what do you find that you like to do as hobbies?
Yeah. So this is disability takes up a lot of my time because being a person with chronic illness, I don't have a whole lot of energy or time to do much else besides the work that I do. But I do have a podcast that I kind of consider a hobby. It's still disability related. You've been on there, and we're still editing some of those episodes. But I because of my chronic illness, it's really affected the type of hobbies I do. So I like reading. I like arts and craft. I grew up in a very artsy background in Colorado, so I love doing all those types of things and creating. And that's also something that I do a lot with my work, right? It's you create new content, you create new ideas, and new ways of teaching folk things. So I also love film and movies, TV. I love seeing all the plots and the cinematic effects that people create and stuff like that. So
Sounds like you and I have a lot of similar hobbies because I spend a lot of my time reading and TV and stuff like that too. I also spend a good amount of time walking my service dog. Fresh air is always a good thing.
yeah.
So, that said, having described what you described of your work within your organization and that sort of thing, what advice would you give to someone else with a disability that may want to get into working in the social and advocacy and nonprofit sectors?
Yeah, that is a hard question to answer because, I'll just be frank, going into the social sector, going into social work, I didn't realize how far behind social work was in particular as far as understanding disabilities, as far as elevating folks with disabilities voices. There's a lot of ableism. So I do want to caution people that want to go into this field. It's very rewarding, but it's also very frustrating because we have these issues of ableism within the field. But the cool thing about social work is that there's so many different things to do. There are so many different ways you can help. You can work one-on-one with clients. You can do mental health. You can do criminal justice. You can do disability justice. You can do a myriad of things, and they all kind of interact with each other. There's also amazing community, really, because social work in particular in the social sector are very intertwined because we have to be able to spread resources out and get awareness out. And so if you're looking for that type of industry, social work and the social sector are great. Know that there is some schooling involved, but the schooling tends to be way more accommodating than once you get into the field. It's just a little bit harder to get back up on your feet and make sure you are getting everything you need to be successful.
Great. So, is there anything else that you would like to cover that my other questions haven't covered?
I think that the one thing that I always want to bring up with folks is the ableism portion, right? And that it didn't occur to me until later in my career and later in life how much ableism affects everything that we do, right? And the internalized ableism and externalized sources as well. But I don't want people to be discouraged by that, and I don't want folks who are not disabled to feel like because they haven't experienced a disability before that they are somehow not contributing to the ableism in our society.
That's a good thing to bring up, and if you don't mind, I'll add a little something to that. What you said about not feeling that they're contributing to the issue, I will say that disability and the disability community is basically has been proven by large organizations, reputable organizations, to be the fastest growing minority, not only in the United States, but in the world. In fact, it has been proven by multiple organizations that pretty much everyone will enter the disability community, whether it be on a temporary or permanent basis, at some point in their lifetime. They have a 99% chance of that happening. Thanks to things such as there's the birth defect issue, or birth complications, I should say, or there's things such as accidents. Goodness forbid, but it does happen. Crime, health problems that occur later in life, etc. So that's why it is such a major issue that we can't escape. It affects all of us, but we're not taught from the crib, as it is my opinion that we should be, how to coexist with these issues.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that kind of, if you just to add to that, that also kind of piggybacked on this problem of value that we place on folks with disabilities, right? Because we have this negative connotation of what disability is. We label disability as bad, the word is bad, so we try to escape it by using all these euphemisms. And really, just because you experience a disability does not change your value as a human. It does not change what you can contribute to the society, right? It doesn't have to be a bad thing. And I think a lot of folks are either so scared or really just try to distance themselves from disabilities. And so therefore all of these problems occur that we see in society, right?
Mm-hmm. And while that is a quite a big note to end on, I think we will end there, because I think this discussion that we've had will be an opening for other discussions between others down the line. Thank you everyone for joining us today for Strides. Thank you to our guests for joining us. And remember everyone that disability comes with ability.